Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another video. And as I've been mentioning over there on X, I actually really think I could have pieced a few things together here. I'm going to just go through a few of people's opinions that I see online, and they do add to the picture in my head. I started to plant this seed maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 videos ago. I hope my mic's all right. 3, 4, 5, 6 videos ago. I discussed it yesterday on my live spaces, and now I think I can bring the picture together. But as always, guys, this is just my opinion, and I want you to criticize it, give me your opinions, that sort of thing. But without further ado, basically, I think that alts could outperform Bitcoin quite heavily going into this next stage of the market. I feel like we've been looking for that elusive alt season. I don't want to be the guy necessarily being like, oh, it's about to happen, because it's just the easiest way to get shit rubbed all over your face and everyone just to troll you online. But I want to just show you that essentially I'm going to use the example of XRP in this video. I'm going to show some other alts too, but obviously XRP is where I spend a lot of my time looking at it technically, and so I'm going to use that as a brush that paints the broader picture for altcoins. But specifically, I'm going to talk about XRP as much as I can. First off, I do think that there is a chance that I could be wrong here, as one of my favorite macro analysts, Arthur Hayes, is talking about the debt ceiling, all these potential negative macro catalysts that could bring Bitcoin down to 75 to 70k. Obviously, I don't think that's my base case, but I'm just showing it that, of course, I could be wrong. So I'm showing this to start with, to get this out of the way. I could be wrong, okay? On contrary to that, Andreas Larsen says, equities are doing fine everywhere but in the US. This is the stuff we see during a global uniform cycle upswing. Basically, markets are picking up around the world, just not yet in the US. I think the US will follow. I think the US are letting markets go, push up in the rest of the world. We've talked about the DXY in other videos. Don't know if I necessarily will or need to get into that in this video. Maybe I will later on. It might link into some stuff. But essentially what I'm saying is the background foundation of the macro, although there are a lot of negative catalysts like tariffs, liquidity issues, all these sorts of things. If we take all these things away, so imagine all them are just null and void, and I know that crypto, in my opinion, is macro, but let's just focus on, imagine they're kind of neutral, so I can give this opinion. Obviously, they can change what I think very easily, if we have tariffs, further global tensions, liquidity issues, whatever. But I also feel like they could very easily turn to the upside. We could have resolution in the Ukraine-Russia war. We could have the liquidity. The Fed might step in the US, because Trump's been trying to twist the Fed's hand, like I've said for a long time. The Fed might step in and lower rates because the market is pulling back, and then they might increase liquidity from the Treasury as well, and we could see boom. So both sides of the coin, so to speak, I do see an argument for in terms of the larger macro environment or the wider markets. But now I'm going to get into my thesis and why I think that basically I think altcoins are going to outperform. So first off, Cred. Absolute G. If you don't follow Cred already, he's gives most of his, in fact, all of his content for free in terms of trading. Best analyst out there for free content, in my opinion. I think he's very highly rated, but also underrated for what he shares for free. He shared this picture about Bitcoin, showing where he thought Bitcoin price would go and how he thought it would act. I've been saying something very similar, but from a different lens. I've talked about this liquidity for a long time. Yesterday, we did get the pull down into the area, which kind of aligns with both myself and Cred. Whether it comes down further to this 84k region, this is something that I publicly said I'm not sure about, but let's just say it does or it doesn't. It's not really that relevant to my thesis, because I don't know if the bottom is exactly in now, or if this is just what's about to happen in the longer perspective. Okay, so let's just get that out there now. Cool. So we've got Bitcoin price action sorted. Could come down to 84, could come lower. I don't think it goes as far as Arthur Hayes thinks, but we're looking at alts. But I'm just showing you this broader picture so we can get the background for this story that I'm trying to write for you guys. So next, Cred also talks about Bitcoin dominance here, which very heavily plays into what I'm going to talk about because I think alts are going to outperform. And he says we're probably closer to this than most realize, which is a rejection of basically an area for Bitcoin dominance and then coming down towards alt season. Like as we fall down from this Bitcoin dominance high, obviously the lower Bitcoin dominance goes, the more rotational capital is coming out of Bitcoin into alts, etc. Taking this as well with blockchain backers, talked about things that I've been talking about for a long time. I'm going to mention these on this video as well to give you a more like obvious, like clearer picture. But he's been talking about how he thought the range was nearly up for XRP specifically, and talking about XRP dominance, XRP Bitcoin, and XRP USD, and then relating to the past. So with all that being said, on this latest pullback, the first thing I'm going to just like highlight is, it might be in a bit of a messy order, but hopefully it all comes together at the end, okay? The first thing I'm going to highlight is there are a few cryptos that are quite obviously acting differently to Bitcoin. If we look on our left, this is SEI, and I have no affiliation with any of these. I just hold a massive bag of XRP, as we're going to talk about. SEI, clearly acting pretty differently to Bitcoin here, and this is a daily time frame for both charts. Bitcoin has dropped significantly in the last 2 days, SEI's pretty much held and starting to push to the upside. This isn't something you see when you see a market-wide capitulation. Another asset is Quant, QNT, pretty much doing something not the same as Bitcoin, but just like something very different. That's the other thing that I'm trying to highlight here. And there are others like ENA yesterday performed very differently to Bitcoin. Obviously, like it's not as clear as SEI and Quant, but still had a big green bounce yesterday, finished the day in the green, whereas Bitcoin had quite a red day, finished the day in the red. And XRP also similar, although XRP did pull back. I don't know whether to get into XRP specifically here. So XRP also managed to finish the day in the green yesterday, whereas Bitcoin had quite a significant red day. So I'm going to take this into one single frame now, and we're going to just start with Bitcoin. We're going to talk about this price range again. I've talked about this a few times, and I'm going to tell you why right now. So this is where Bitcoin significantly differs to other alts. We've talked about yesterday the RSI on Bitcoin, saying when we get down to these oversold areas, it's close to a bottom, if not at the bottom. The last time we saw this was August the 5th, 2024, and then June and July 24. And then before that, we didn't see this low in the daily RSI since 25K for Bitcoin. So it is something to put some weight on. It's not something to put your whole bag in, but it's something to put some weight on, okay? That's the first step. So that also paints us a picture of, is the bottom in or are we close? And I think the answer is yes, in my opinion. We also discussed this. So today the Fear and Greed Index is at 26. The last time we were at this sort of level was here, which was I got this wrong yesterday. I think it's the 6th and 7th of September, which is this area here. So this is where I'm going to start my thesis, guys, okay? In this time period here, we had our flush out here, which is when the Japanese yen carry trade was unraveling. We then bounced. We then created a higher low in terms of price action, and then continued out of this range, okay? So remember before that, Bitcoin was ranging, sets a low, sets a higher low on worse sentiment, the higher low comes in. As you can see here, the higher low on worse sentiment, and then we start to break out. So right now, we've got sentiment at 26, like the lowest it's been. Bitcoin itself has actually set a lower low this time. And this is where, again, I start my thesis, because let's look at XRP now. So remember Bitcoin's price structure. In this range, we set the low and a higher low on worse sentiment and then push out of the range. XRP. Let's see if I've got anything clear. I've not drawn anything clear. So I'm going to just remove some of these drawings so we can see we talked about these green lines previously where I thought people would have their stop losses. We have taken all of the green lines. I'm just going to remove them now just so we can be clearer on this video. So let's extend this range out. Okay, so we had these key areas of support and resistance drawn in. I'm going to leave them in there because you can still see clearly they're acting like that. So for XRP, we've set a low, and we're setting potentially a higher low now, whilst fear and greed index has come and set a lower low. So the XRP looks like it's mimicking Bitcoin's range before the explosive upside. So think about this range, set the low below the range, come and set a higher low within the range, this 50k region, and then we send it up towards 100k. XRP sets the low below the range, it sets a higher low within the range at the same time, with the fear and greed index acting basically as a bullish divergence, with sentiment going lower yet price staying higher within the range, and then hopefully potentially continuing to the upside here. So that, coupled with Bitcoin dominance, is the other thing that I wanted to look at yesterday. And we gave the example of saying QNT are the best examples in my opinion. We saw Bitcoin dominance actually drop on a day where the market was massively negative. Most times where the market itself is negative, Bitcoin actually gains dominance because, as most people know, people trade pairs against Bitcoin. Bitcoin is normally the asset, or historically has been the asset in crypto that you trade against. It's the denominator. So normally Bitcoin drops the least because also it is the largest market cap crypto. But yesterday it actually lost dominance on a red day, telling me that probably people are moving towards altcoins or see more value in alts, which is not often something that we see at these levels. At the same time, my thesis, as I've said to you guys, again, we don't have to be exactly in the right place, but my thesis, I've said to you guys, is yes, we have always seen alt season start from a minimum of 67.6 to 73.8, but I do think that over time Bitcoin dominance slowly bleeds out because as more alts come into circulation and have real world utility, which I think we could be stepping into that phase right now, then I think they take some dominance away from Bitcoin. It doesn't mean that I think Bitcoin's going away by any stretch. It just means that probably more of the market gets shared around in terms of market cap. And we have bearish divergences building on the weekly time frame as Bitcoin dominance sets higher highs and lower highs on the RSI and stochastic RSI. So as I said, I was going to talk a lot about XRP in this video. I will continue to do that. I've been discussing this for a long time with XRP completing Wyckoff accumulation. This is XRP dominance, exactly the same with XRP ETH. I'm going to show you both of those, and I'm going to show you XRP Bitcoin at the end. We have bounced against resistance. We've been stuck in this level for say a few months now. I think we're ready for the breakout. We've just been waiting for the catalyst and the move to the upside, potentially with the bullish divergence with the fear and greed index and price action. That could be the sentimental divergence that we need to start looking upwards. People are like, oh yeah, we're at resistance. You can't claim this sort of thing at resistance. We've never spent this long at a resistance level in my history with XRP, maybe even forever. We have maybe up in these areas here, but that's 14%, very different to being down here at 4%. So that's the first one. XRP ETH looks pretty much the same. I might just take off these drawings just for 1 second so you can clearly see what I'm seeing. Again, we've just been chopping around at resistance, basically building strength for this next leg up, giving the oscillators a bit of a chance to cool down. If we go to the 3-day, I think it's a much clearer picture in terms of oscillators. Our stochastic RSI oversold. The standard RSI cooled down out of the overbought area, ready to take that leg up. Take these drawings off. As you can see, consolidating, ready for an expansion. In my opinion, I think we probably go higher than we've ever been against ETH. Similar with XRP Bitcoin. Just sitting at this level that we've been talking about for ages, range high. Every single time we found ourselves at this range high, we haven't sat there for this long. And when we get a break of this level, we often puke out of it. Bang, break out of it. If we break this level, bang, break out of it. If we break the level, bang, break out of it. If we break the level, it's easier to see if you invert the chart because it just looks like you're about to puke, and that is basically what I think we are. I think we're going to push down heavily into this sort of zone here, if not into this zone, and there's definitely potential as well that we could take more market cap off Bitcoin than we ever have before. This doesn't make it super easy for us as XRP holders because, in my opinion, and I might cover this, in fact I will cover this more in another video, what is going to be difficult is if XRP takes more dominance than a lot of the market. Let's say XRP gets to 14 or even to 20% dominance imminently. Let's say it does that in a month or two. Where does that leave us as holders? Let's say price of XRP is between like 8 and 10, $8 and $12. Are you going to deleverage heavily into stable coins? Are you going to rotate that into other assets? Is market cap going to continue going higher, and is XRP dominance going to go higher? The question about that, and the reason that's difficult, is because if you're heavily into XRP in terms of size, let's say you put $1,000 in and your 1,000 is worth $10,000 at this point. If you rotate that 10,000 into something else, it's going to do a 2 or a 3x that's quite safe. I don't know what that example might be. I'm not going to suggest anything. Then you make 30,000 if you leave it in XRP. The risk is if you hit these resistance levels, obviously it's going to going to retrace at some point, so you take the risk of losing all your gains. If you put it just in stables, I do think the dollar probably depreciates over time this year. You probably lose 10-20% in stable coins, just in terms if you hold the dollar, just in terms of strength, and then if we do have the upside, you're then sitting in stables, very difficult position to be in. So I'm not saying that this is going to be all like sunshine and roses, but I am saying this is what I think is coming next, but it comes with a new concoction of issues if you are a trader or investor in this market. So essentially what I'm basically saying is alts look like they're ready to go for me. Total 2 has been consolidating after this all-time high. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show this for you. I'm going to get rid of these just so I can I've been saying that I think Total 2 has been in Wyckoff accumulation for a while. We've had the different phases of accumulation. We had the sign of strength, breakout, back test into that sign of strength phase, and now I think we probably enter phase E. I think that's essentially my thesis. I wanted to share that with you guys. I hope that I've broken it down well. I don't know if Bitcoin comes down any further into the liquidity that I showed you in the first place. I think Fear and Greed Index is a good indicator of what's coming. However, I think what it's showing me right now is altcoins are about to take the lead, with certain alts outperforming, as I've said, showing that even at the bottom that people aren't uber fearful of all alts. Normally alts across the board just get nuked when Bitcoin comes down, has a liquidation day like yesterday. We've also discussed different indicators of leverage and open interest in the markets using Velo. I've discussed those in previous videos, and I can go into that again if people need it. I've also tweeted about that, but I just wanted to show you guys where I think, or what I think could be coming next, and why I think could be coming. And I think it could be XRP leading the pack. I said in a video yesterday or the day before that I think XRP could hit $5 in March. I still believe that. I think we go to $8 to $12 imminently if my thesis is right. It doesn't mean tomorrow, it doesn't mean in a week. I just mean that's our next push for XRP, and then we're in tricky territory, to be honest. I'll be coming on here very unsure about what to do if we get to that period, especially if we start to outperform other assets and lead the market. It's going to be uncharted territory for us as XRP holders if we want to go higher. So I hope all of that makes sense. I'd love for you to share this video if you enjoyed it. Please give me a like, ask me some questions below, share with me what you think about my thesis here and why I think it. Yeah, and with all that said and done, you can trade leverage below if you like. I've got an MEXC affiliate link. Be careful if you're trading leverage. XRP memes below as well. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please do share with a friend if you did. It's free to subscribe and free to share, and it really helps me out. And basically, I just enjoy doing this, so it's great if you would. Peace up, A-Town down, as Crypto Insight UK would say.